It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job. We are your podcast for relevant and relatable conversations with contractors. My name's Mike. That's Brian.
Hello.
We are episode 57 today, and our guest is Ray Cerulli, President of Plastic Tops Inc. How you doing, Ray?
Fantastic.
What's up, Ray?
Thank you guys for having me.
No, thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate
Absolutely.
it. It's always nice to have somebody in person when we do Zoom meetings all the time. But
Yeah, the COVID effect.
yeah, right?
A lot of Zoom meetings these days.
A lot of Zoom meetings
A lot.
these days. So, kind of as we get started, if you could give us a little history, how you got started in this industry from way back when, however long ago that was, and that journey to where you are now as president with Plastic Tops.
Excellent. Started when I was 18 years old. Came in basically pushing a broom into the company. Hired as a general laborer.
In this company?
In this company.
Wow.
So I've been there for over 35 years.
All right.
The interesting thing before that was I grew up in a family restaurant business. So from my middle school to high school, we were working 7 days a week, driving from the city of Orange into Gardena, long commute.
Yeah.
Restaurants, as you know, daytime, nighttime, long hours.
I worked for restaurants for
that guy right
12
there.
years.
Yeah.
Worked in restaurants.
So that's where I cut my teeth.
Yeah.
In a family business and working for your dad. Of course, you're not calling in sick. You know, you're working a lot of shifts. So going from there into an opportunity, happened to be a roommate that said, hey, they're looking for somebody at the shop. I was looking to do something different, kind of get away from under my dad's watch in the family business and try something different.
How did that go over?
It was tough. I actually did not make my first job interview. I was that kind of scared, upset about potentially leaving my family business.
Yeah.
So I mustered up the courage, went in, introduced myself. I said, listen, I know nothing about construction, manufacturing. I took shop class in high school, but I know how to work. I grew up in a family business and we worked 7 days a week. And I said, give me an opportunity and I'll show you what I can do. So they hired me and started just working in the shop and going, wow, a Monday through Friday job.
Yeah.
Basically.
No nights, no weekends.
Exactly. 7 to 3. The business was 15 minutes from where I lived. Most weekends were on my own. Nights were on my own. So I was going, this is paradise. I loved it. So, and I'd be in construction and the guys that were salty, been there a while and maybe, out in the field and such, they would gripe about this and that. And I'm going, this is wonderful. I love this type of work. And so I started that and started working in different factions in the shop and in building our countertops. And what I really loved was the idea of creating something out of nothing. Yeah. So I never had that really before that, right? Yeah. Where you something didn't exist at the beginning of the day. At the end of the day, you look back and go, that's there because I contributed and helped build that.
Yeah.
And I've kept that my whole career. I love that.
That's so funny. That sentiment, I feel like, is pretty prevalent among a lot of the guys.
Yeah. The pride in that craftsmanship. Yeah.
Which you don't see in a lot of other lines of work, right? I mean, and I just related to restaurants, right? I ran and I was in restaurants since I was 16.
I put that plate down.
Yeah, right. Like I went into management. I was in management for 8 years too. So I mean, yeah, I employed a lot of minimum wage cooks, and not that they're all bad, but there were plenty that there was no pride of what they were putting on that plate. You know what I mean? So. It's definitely a different mindset, which is fun and appreciative.
Yeah.
So, kind of obviously started pushing a broom. What was how long have you been president? Let's back that out.
For I think 11 years now.
Okay.
The story working through the shop. We were doing residential, commercial work. I worked through the shop in different factions of manufacturing our countertops and work surfaces. Then I got an opportunity to go out in the field and install. So we were installing both residential at the time and commercial. So I was from the mom and pop and welcoming you in your home and, how much care and detail they want to a commercial project where you got men running all over the place. And when,
get in, get out as fast as you can.
Exactly. So I had both of that. And then as the business started to grow, they moved away from residential and concentrated solely on commercial work. So started just doing the commercial work, and then met with them again, my former partners, and said, love to come in and learn about project management and that. And I'm blessed that they both took me under their wing and gave me that opportunity to come in and learn that aspect of the business. And then in 1999, I approached them, and I'd been there since 84, and said, listen, I have an opportunity to leave, but I love this business. I came from, my grandfather was his own businessman. My father was his own businessman. I said, I'd love to stay here if you can offer me a pathway to ownership. I would consider that, and I'd really appreciate it. So we talked and negotiated, and they brought me in as a minority owner. And I stayed that way until 2008, 2009, Great Recession time, right?
Right.
We were a one-hit wonder. We were just doing high-pressure laminate commercial work. But we saw the writing on the wall that it wasn't sustainable for the three of us and the salaries to keep going like this. So they said, okay, we need to accelerate the buy, sell, and retire, and there you go. So we talk about a baptism by fire. So
not only did you take it over quickly, but you took it over at one of the worst times from an economic standpoint.
That's not,
yes.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
But some of the most challenging times are the most rewarding looking back.
Oh, for sure. From a development standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you got to think outside the box if you're going to survive. So we started to say, listen, the volume of work is starting to come down. So to get more work, we're a countertop and horizontal surface manufacturer. So let's get into solid surface. Let's get into butcher block. Let's get into these other materials. We're still building countertops. We know about countertops.
Yeah.
So instead of watercoloring, we're oil painting.
Yeah.
So we just started to research and learn and grow. And then as we started to build that helped us to survive and
sustain,
grow out of that. And then we also wanted to get more diversified in what markets that we were involved in, so that we weren't just in a narrow path. So that experience really opened our eyes to where we needed to grow and be diversified in order to keep going. And that, in today's day, where you have another crisis going on, right, really has helped us. And we refer back to that time to say, what a blessing. Yeah. We learned and we're growing. And yes, this can be challenging and tough at times, but we're much better positioned.
Right. Yeah, that's been a common theme or a common success story through this period from a few different people we've talked to. I think there's something to be said for, doing one thing and being great at what you do, obviously, but there's also, from a business standpoint, it's smart at times to make sure that you have diversified your work that way. Because if you were only doing one thing 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and that one thing is now shut down because you're not allowed to do it, you're kind of SOL.
Right.
But, if you've got multiple things and that one thing shuts down, then at least you've got other things that you can still do. So,
a good example of that right now for us is we're involved. We don't install. We manufacture and we deliver locally and ship nationally. So we're in schools, hospitals, laboratories, K through 12, dental, and tenant improvement in some restaurants and what we do. During this crisis, one industry that got hammered was the dental industry.
Yeah.
Right? You don't think about that as you're going.
It just shut down for a couple months.
So it shut down. Well, one little lane that we were involved in and still are, and it's starting to come back now, was the construction of dental offices on a national basis. And that was a real strong area. And during this crisis, that shut off overnight.
Yeah.
But because we had these other areas, we could say, okay, now we need to go. So during that time, then we started to look at, okay, we're involved in all these type of materials, solid surface and such. And I'm seeing these safety screens and sneeze guards that are needed. So I said, guys, we're going to start researching that and get into that. And that's been a lane of, because we're involved in schools and hospitals and such, and those areas need those protections. Yeah. That's been a little segment of additional work that we've got to help people out and build those.
So you said you guys don't install anymore, but at one point you said you had worked in the field and in project management.
Yeah.
was moving away from installations something that you were a part of, or that decision-making process, or
Yes.
what moved you away from that?
At the time, subcontract installation was coming into our industry, where companies were coming up and saying, we'll go out and install these, and we were seeing that writing. And one of the most challenging parts of our industry is controlled cost in the field.
Yeah.
That's a very...
labor especially, yeah.
Yes, it's very... It's tough.
Yep.
So we said, hey, we're seeing these companies pop up. We can concentrate on fabrication. We have a history of installation, so we know how to build this, and we know what the installer needs. So let's get really good at building something that is installation friendly, and let's concentrate on that aspect, because if we can save our customers money and making it faster to put in, that's going to be an asset to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was our process, and that's the way we've kept our focus.
Were there any hurdles that you had to get over as far as making sure that your product was being installed correctly, or training, the subcontractors? How did you guys kind of manage that? Because, I mean, when it's your own product, it's easy, right?
Right.
Something screws up, you call the shop, they fix it, you
For
send
sure.
a new one, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're just simply selling product for somebody else to install, I have to imagine there might be a little bit of
Yep.
a learning curve there.
You bet.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a great dance partner, because in our business, our customer base is extremely diverse.
Oh, for sure.
From companies that have over 1,000 employees, very sophisticated computer systems, all these systems set up that you can follow, to small mom and pop organizations that are hand sketches and throwing that at you. So you have everything in between.
Yep.
So what you have to become very good at is a good dance partner with a new person coming in. Understand how they do their business. It's not going to help if I dictate to them how to
shove it
build
down
something.
their throat, yeah.
You really have to learn how they do their business, build trust over time, and then over time, when they have trust, you say, you know what, there's a little better mousetrap, but a little better way to build this to help your guys in the field, and go that way. And that's kind of where that's a lane we've always tried to be in.
Yeah.
To really help them, and not from the outset we're dictating how to build it. It's learning how they do their business, because each one's unique. And then as we're learning that, then we could say, okay, if you want to try something like this, we could see this going faster for you in the field, or, better,
this might
better way
work
to
a
go.
bit better, more efficient.
Yep.
So are you getting, is most of your work, I guess, kind of what's the split? Are you getting work from, like you said, a builder of dentist's office? Do they come to you and say, hey, we want your countertops, find somebody to install them? Or is it the other way around, where that builder is hiring a GC and maybe subcontractors who then go, hey, we know these guys that build these countertops, we want to use these?
Yes, I'm further down the food chain than that. So, you'd have a general contractor, a specialty contractor,
Right.
then
Right.
maybe a cabinet shop, and then we're going to be we're the foot doctor. We're the
Right.
specialist of the countertops. So we'll get some OEM stuff. Some of the major universities has a facility director, and maybe they'll come out and work with us directly with their team and go that. But most often, it's a subcontractor. We're a business
Who knows
to business.
your product and is working with
You
it?
bet.
Yeah.
You bet. And then getting involved in the industry with organizations like the Woodwork Institute, that's a standards organization where you give back and you volunteer, and then you're networking with people. And, over the years, you build a reputation and keep growing from there.
Right. So are you guys, you said you were kind of shipping and selling nationwide. Is it all out of California? Do you have shops anywhere else, or?
No, just out of
Just out
Southern
of California?
California. We've got 2 buildings, 18,000 square feet.
Up in La Habra, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
14 employees.
Just 14?
Just 14
Manufacturing
with
all that?
automated equipment. 14 people.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Talk about lean, man.
Right.
So what kind of production do you guys get out of the 2 buildings?
We're about $3.5 million.
Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You're probably running nonstop, right? I mean, is it
You bet.
pretty consistent?
It has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was I mean, probably when you guys were at the height of your installation part, how many employees did you have, and how did that process transition to kind of getting down to 14 people?
Yeah, it's interesting because I have a placard in my office about a particular anniversary date, and it had all the employees at that particular time. And we had 25 employees. And our volume then was less than our volume now. But it's fine-tuning your processes.
Yeah.
It's understanding how technology has come along and making sure you have automated equipment and making sure you stay in your lane of what you're good at.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been successful for us.
So from a hiring standpoint, what kind of things are you looking for when you're hiring somebody to bring in, whether it's from the shop or in the office?
It's all about culture.
Yeah.
It's all about attitude. It's all about, you know, how do they fit into the team? I remember someone telling me, and I love this, it was like, you know, you take a new potential employee out for breakfast and you go there early and you tell the staff, when they order, I want you to mess up their whole breakfast. If they wanted over easy eggs, I want them scrambled. If they wanted this, make it that way, because I want to see
how they're like.
How do they react under diversity?
Yeah.
Right. So I think I like that because you learn a lot about
That's pretty
right?
smart. I've never really heard of that, but that's brilliant.
Yeah. It's like golfing, right? You go out on the golf course, you learn a lot about a person on the golf course.
Throw their gloves.
Everything's fine and dandy when everything's beautiful, but when you're under a little duress, that's when character comes out. So, but
that's actually pretty smart. Do you actually use that breakfast technique?
I have.
Yeah,
I have. But you know, in our operation, we're blessed. I've got 5 of our team members that I've worked with, grown up with, over 25 years, and then because of our culture and how important our family and team is, we've been able to get younger guys that have come up, actually people that we've known, family members or this or that have come up and interviewed. And that's my responsibility, is making sure that when we do bring someone on, is it that person that can fit in and is a team player and that really is family oriented.
So it's almost like I was going to ask the question in terms of how are you assessing that culture fit? Is it just shooting from the hip when, you know, maybe it's the breakfast thing, but it sounds like because a lot of the guys coming in and the people coming in have a history already with at least you or some of the other team members that are there, it sounds like you have a pretty good understanding before they ever walk through the door, right? Would that be a fair assessment?
No, because you really don't know 100% till they're actually in the job working it. Under that duress, when jobs are good,
couple curveballs
and things are going in. But knock on wood, we've had very good success with that. Again, 14 people, so you're not. It's not like you're bringing in a lot of different people in and out. Our retention, I mean, you're a rookie at our company until you're there 5 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got a couple of those younger guys coming in, but they see the older guys and the, you know, and how we get along and what we're doing.
Camaraderie.
Yes. Yes, but challenges come up, you know, and that's where it's me. You know, I'm the coach. Is, you know, how are you handling things and working it through, and you know, are you staying cool and calm and for your team, and that's important.
So, how many of the 14 employees know that you started 30 some odd years ago pushing a broom in the warehouse?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And I remind.
I feel like that's got to be pretty. Yeah. That's got to be a pretty good kind of notch on your totem pole, right? Like as
you know, I think something to look.
It gives a path, right? Like it gives a.
You bet.
Yeah.
And I tell the young people, you know, there's nothing that keeps you from going. Sky's the limit. Whatever you want to go after and do here or somewhere else, but always keep reaching. Always keep growing in what you're doing. You know, and for the most part, I've hired from within. Promoted from within. You know, give them an opportunity. I was my lead estimator. It was from playing poker with him. Okay, and I love the guy. I love it. You know, I've been to weddings and funerals and births and all this stuff. But anyway, we're over my house and we're playing some poker, and I'm watching how good he is at numbers and playing. And he was on the floor working an edge bander. And I said, "How would you like to come in the office and learn estimating?" And he was a little hesitant at first, and I go, "But I see something." So we brought him in, and you know, 4 years later, wow,
that's fun.
He's a star.
I feel like, especially the estimating job, you know, it could be a hit and miss.
You bet.
If you do it poorly,
you
don't want that guy slacking at his job.
No.
There's got to be a pretty high hit ratio there, otherwise you're not doing too well.
Right.
What what does your management team look like? How many other people are involved in your decision-making processes there?
Well, we have a sales manager, we have estimating, we have production manager, and we have an office manager and myself. And as the president, I do everything from cleaning the toilets to helping making the decisions on, are we, we're going to go after a particular job or something. But we have a morning meeting, a stand-up morning meeting every morning. So I mentioned earlier about being involved in the industry, in the woodwork industry. It's through giving back that you also get a whole bunch. So through this networking and helping the Woodwork Institute, being on the board of directors with them and seeing good businessmen like you guys do, where you're bringing these different minds in, you're going, wow, there's some very good information to learn. I did the same thing. A lot of what I do business-wise and managerial-wise is because I've been able to learn from people I highly respect how they're running their businesses. It's not overly complicated.
Yeah. Right.
It's just being smart enough to observe and watch people you respect that are good family men, good businessmen, successful.
Well, and humble enough too, right? Because a lot of people think that they know the way to do it and they know the best way, and they don't want to take anybody else's advice.
But I'll tell you, those that are volunteering in the industry, those are the humble guys.
Yeah.
Because the ones that are just my way's the only way, they don't work on a board of directors because you got to be able to work with other people.
They're not giving back their time or their...
So this nucleus of people are awesome people. So I've learned some things, and one was that stand-up meeting where get your team together, standing up so that we don't just sit down and, kind of our minds wander, and keep it short. So all our department heads get together. We go over, each department talks about what's going on, and we collaborate together, and then it's like a huddle, a daily huddle. Then we break and go on our way. But what I learned from doing that is the amount of things that surprise us are far and few between. Yeah. Before that, we'd have some challenges that pop up and go, wow, how'd that happen? Yeah. So,
how long are you normally taking? I mean, is it like a 2-3 minute thing, 5-10 minutes?
No, it can go from 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's smart though. I mean, because like you said, you're sitting down, your mind kind of wanders, but standing up, you almost have to focus, otherwise you fall flat on your face. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And it keeps you from going too long.
Right. Very true. Mm-hmm. Very true. Is it a pretty laid back, just kind of, hey, what's going on, or is there a structure that you guys bring to that?
Yeah, it can get, depending on what the situation is, how busy are we, what the flow is going on. I always try to keep a little levity in there, a little joke or something to start off and kind of break some things up, and then we get into it. And it can be, very smooth and easy, and then maybe there's a challenge in a certain area, and maybe there's some disagreement by managers' heads of how we're going to do it, but we work it through.
Right.
We work it through.
So what are some of those challenges you guys may face, on a regular occurrence that you guys kind of have to get over?
You could be anywhere from workload, how busy we are at a particular time. Maybe you have some back orders on raw materials that are slowing production down in an area that's causing other problems. Maybe estimating is backed up at the time and needs a little help. Maybe engineering is having some challenges. Yeah. So it can be a lot of different things in running the business that are ebb and flow that are affecting what's going on.
So it sounds like the day could be pretty fluid. Like you might have guys having, depending on what is lacking that day, you're kind of moving pieces to make sure that they're fitting all those different.
That's where I enjoy the coaching aspect of it. So I'm looking to see, okay, where are we at? What do you need?
Yeah,
what can I help?
A football coach.
Yeah. What can I help? What can I help you do to get your job done, to help you?
Right.
And I'll look at that in the different things that we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So as president, that's kind of the role you take on most often, right? There's nothing else that you're solely responsible, or are you just kind of that manager aspect?
Well, with the small operation that we are, it's of course the finances and the insurance obligations and the employee personnel, and I have other team members that are helping me with this. But that's what I really thrive on in the business is that I'm a coach. Where's the need to help if I take care of my people, they're going to take care of the business, and that's what I try to concentrate on is saying, okay, what do you need? What can I help you to do what you got?
Yeah,
and we're all accountable.
Yeah, and I think that's the key factor. So many guys and girls get so kind of set on I have to do it my way that it's hard for them to let go of some of those things and let other people do them and maybe just kind of oversee them. So,
Yeah.
And a theme that I'm kind of picking up with you, Ray, is that you have a culture of empowerment, of inspiring, of pushing people. It's not just, and that's coaching, but there's some good coaches and bad coaches, right? My father-in-law was a football coach for a very long time, and his big thing, high school boys, and I'd say, what's like, are you just always thinking, he goes, well, first of all, I'm coaching the coaches. I'm the head football coach, right? But I'm also trying to bring these boys I'm teaching them life lessons, things that are just beyond what we're doing on the field, right? So it sounds like, you're playing poker with these guys, right? It's not just always in the shop,
Right.
Right? It's outside of that.
Right.
You're empowering them to not only understand that, hey, I started pushing a broom and here I am leading the company. So you're inspiring them that way, but you're also empowering them. You're meeting with them daily. You're meeting with them outside of the workday. So that truly is that cultural family. And I feel like guys that work for somebody like you are going to do so much more than just their daily job, the 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever that is, right?
Yep.
That's always nice to have an 8 to 5 job like you mentioned before, but outside of that, it's like, man, I want to go to Ray's house and play poker.
I'd like to go to Ray's house and play poker.
Well, it's like you got to be humble and you got to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be caring. You got to have
soft front
empathy.
side, strong backside.
Yeah, you got to have empathy.
Yeah.
One of the joys I get is when my guys get together and they're doing something and found out, they're going out and hitting golf balls or they're playing golf or, there was a birthday party and they're going out. So it's not just at work.
Yeah.
They're doing things they care.
Yeah.
And then your culture is successful when you're seeing stuff like that.
So kind of backtracking last few months, how have you guys managed through this whole process from an office standpoint and a I guess employee morale standpoint?
Wow, very good point. Very good point. One, we saw it early on back in early March.
Yeah.
It was March 17th, my son's St.
Remember
Patrick's Day,
Tuesday.
my son's birthday. But as this all was shutting down, we were quickly going on to the masks, wearing the masks in the shop, in the office, putting sneeze guards up around, and the distance and cleaning.
Because people are concerned about the product that you're going to be receiving, right? Yeah.
Well, yes, I was concerned about my people.
Yeah.
How's their health and safety? And you throw that in the mix, the COVID, you throw the riots and the deals that are going out in our country right now, and I'm going, holy cow. So at our safety meetings, I'm saying, guys, let's time out a little bit. How you feeling? Think about what we're doing on the floor in the shop, and we have all this noise. We got all this concern for health. We got the concern for racial issues in our country. We got all these things. We got all these things that are going on, yet we have this construction that we're doing in the shop, and we're working with machinery that you can get hurt on.
Yeah.
So please think of yourself, think of your family, your coworkers.
Right.
Watch out for each other, because there's so much noise and concern out there that it's very easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
So, making sure communication and talking about those things. And when you're wearing a mask, no one likes to wear the mask. Things are hot out, out in the shop and this and that. But if you remind them, this is for your mom or dad or your grandparents, who knows where this is, they're the ones that are super vulnerable for this kind of thing. Let's be careful.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, so far, we've gotten through that. But it's by talking.
Yeah.
It's by what are your concerns? How you feeling?
Yeah.
Did you guys go to a work from home from your office staff at all, or?
We did. We went our sales and estimating at the height. We were doing alternating days where they were working from home, and we still have that ability. So you have to be nimble.
Yeah.
So if things started to go awry or something like that, we still have that. But the way our office is set up, we are at least 6 feet away from each other.
It's pretty spread out. Got
and
some space.
We have a sneeze guard in between two of our team members that have a desk in the same office. And other than that, we're separated. And then once we're getting together for our morning meetings, anytime we leave our office, we put our mask on to make sure that when we're meeting and close and we're walking the floor, we're doing the same thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool to see, especially in the construction and manufacturing space, that has been maybe not so much manufacturing. Obviously, there's probably a lot of tech involved there, but on the field side, the construction side, it's been a pretty slow progression from the tech standpoint. Just so to see this kind of force a lot of those construction companies to get laptops or work mobily or Zoom meetings or a lot of those things was pretty fun to see. Happen that quickly.
Yeah.
For guys that especially maybe not were maybe a little bit behind a lot of that. So, kind of moving on. Have you guys come back pretty much full time in the office now? Or are you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys obviously didn't have to worry about any sort of layoffs or anything like that. I imagine your production probably stayed pretty consistent through it.
Well, when it first happened, there was that one lane where I mentioned the dental business that had dropped off. So we had some impact there, but luckily not too much.
Right.
So we've been able to stay pretty steady. Compared to last year, we're still a little down. I remember this time last year, looking at the numbers, we were pretty strong. We're still steady, but we're not as strong as we were last year.
Are you seeing an influx of work coming in?
Or certain
right now
industries
as things are opening back up maybe a little bit?
In our industry, doing work surfaces, countertops, we're always at the tail end of the construction, so the contracts are already let.
That's true, yeah.
So we're pretty decently busy right now. Our concern is
what's gonna happen?
6 months from now, a year from now, how are things are going. That's where our vision is always looking down. But, I've been watching in some economic
trends
and some seminars that were going on. E.B. Bradley in our industry and Woodwork Institute put on a 3-part excellence series on the economy in our industry and went region by region in the country. And there's some positive signs out there for us going forward, in so long as there isn't a major shutdown again. And again, the major if we are could be regionally. It's not just going to be the entire area. Maybe some hot spots that are going on, but. You look at housing, you look at other economic indicators, I think we're going to be in for a pop once this thing clears up.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, and especially doing what you guys do, right? I would imagine a lot of your work comes from new startups, right? New construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and a lot of that kind of froze. I'm sure I feel like there was a lot of remodel work and some other things that continued on through the shutdown, if you will, March, April, May, but the new startups, like there weren't very many new projects being started during that process. And I think a lot of that is kind of building up and
we're strong in the laboratory market, research and lab, and that of course is on fire.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because they're really helping. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what's the future look like for you guys? What's down the road? What's outside of obviously the uncertainty in the next 6 months of the year, but what's the 5-year plan of world domination?
Just keep growing what we're doing. Just keep reaching out, looking for new opportunities in what we do, giving back to our industry, making sure we're still staying involved and watching trends and what's going on in materials. Materials in our industry are growing and changing and evolving so rapidly.
Especially what you guys do, yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
So it's really important to stay on top of that and look to the future of those kind of materials and what opportunities those new materials can bring for us. So it's just doing that. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I'm 55. I have no visions of just getting out of this game anytime soon. So I'm in it for the long run.
Are you guys pretty content staying in California, or is there an end goal of being, having a production site somewhere else?
I believe we'll stay in California for a good while.
Yeah.
As long as the governing agencies don't clobber us too bad.
It's so easy to run a company in California.
It's all I've known. We've been here all this time.
Yeah.
I'm a motorcycle enthusiast, so I've had an opportunity to crisscross the country on bikes. So it's hard to beat Southern California weather. I love other places, but it's the weather. It's the weather. It's the weather. So you put up with a lot of stuff.
All the other stuff.
That's very true.
Right.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it. Before we get out of here, we want to give you a shot to kind of plug all your social media stuff or your websites or how people can find you or get a hold of you.
Well, thank you very much first for having me and giving me this opportunity. I've enjoyed the conversation. It's gone by super quick.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. It's easy.
You can reach us plastictops.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Ray Cerulli, Plastic Tops Inc. You can see me there and just give us a call and reach our site.
Awesome.
Sounds good, man. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks again.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We'll keep in touch.
I appreciate it. Good luck with
Do you golf?
Poorly.
So do I.
Nobody golfs well. We'll have to
Sorry,
get out
Mr.
there.
80.
Yeah, we'll have to get out. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, sir. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.